ladies and gentlemen, people around the world. It is the 5 on 5 podcast presented to you by directmusicservice.com. Promo code FIVEON. FIVE will save you some chips on your first month subscription. Go get some edits, remixes, download all of that goodness from over there. We're just going to get right into it today. First show of 2024. I'm going to timestamp it. Boom. Lock it in right there. 2024. It's the boys, Jupiter Williams, Nick Lopez, DJ Gray, myself, Phenom, and our special guest today coming to you live from sunny tropical New York City. Make some noise for Brent Tactic.
Boom, 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 boom.
There's violence.
Yeah, very, very. Look,
That's it?
New York.
Like you're
It's
out
the
on
New
my
York
block.
one. Exactly. Exactly.
That's a real New York welcome, Brent. How are you doing?
I'm chilling, man. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Good, man. Thank you.
Man, we're doing good, bro.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay. Say Happy New Year, I think, right?
I think
Happy
we
New
do.
Year. Yeah,
I think
I-
it applies until February. I think you can keep saying it till February.
That's fair.
yeah.
Yeah,
After
I'm already fired
February.
up in my email follow-ups, just like,
Yeah.
hey, Peter, like, let's talk about the thing that you didn't get done for me in 2023 that we need to
Yeah.
do.
Precisely.
Yep. It's like a little angry, a little happy New Year, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the longer it goes on, the more anger it starts to inflict. You're like,
Yeah.
damn, Happy New Year in June, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. Kinda spicy.
Fiscal year.
Yeah. Super stoked to have you, Brent. Obviously, we've been buds on the internet and occasionally IRL for a long time.
Yeah.
I have so much music biz stuff to talk to you about today, and we have questions from people that submitted questions.
Great.
We have well wishes. DJ Archie, obviously, as you saw on
Oh,
Twitter
Shout
or
out.
X on X. I'm sorry, not Twitter. On X
It will always
over
be
on
Twitter in
out.
our hearts.
over on Elon's esque. Yeah. So Archie said he wanted to send his wishes. You were the first person that booked him actually in Kansas City. So we're going to get into some Kansas City talk as well.
Wonderful.
But I'm just going to take it from the top here. Brent, accomplished DJ and agent in the music scene. I know you've carved your path. Did you start in Kansas City? I kind of want to go back to the beginning and then we'll work our way through.
Yeah, I'll try to make this as succinct as possible because there's a lot as part of the journey. But like, I was actually in school in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee State University, just outside of Nashville. That was like 99 to 2002 era. I started DJing and like I got my first turntables and started buying records and like all that kind of shit in 2000. Was already collecting a bunch of music, just in regards to like CDs and MP3s and whatever I could get my hands on, really. But like the idea of DJing started then, and took action on it, right? And like DJing started then, graduated from college and then moved back to the Midwest. And like I actually started my first record label. It's called Datura Records. Shout out that crew. Started that in 2000 around the same time, and it's crazy, like that record label actually still exists. I don't have any interest or ownership in it anymore, but like the fact that I started something as like a wild hair up my ass in 2000 is like still releasing music, right? And that was primarily hip hop. It was independent hip hop minded. Approach and Mac Lethal, Deep Thinkers. I don't know if you know any of those names, but like that was kind of like the crew that I was running with. And I moved to Lawrence, Kansas, when I graduated from college, which is just like right outside of Kansas City. Did that whole thing for a number of years. Leave out the personal stuff of like, hey, I like had a kid when I was 23 and like, okay, I got married in 2005 and then, got divorced in 2008. But like, the record label happened, life happened, and I stepped away from the record label. And then we actually moved to Pacific Northwest right after we got married in 2005. And that's kind of like where my DJing stuff like blossomed. Put some mixtapes together, like got involved with the Seattle community, and then started DJing a whole lot in Seattle proper, made a bunch of like lifelong friends. Khadijah Streets, the Interflight crew, DJ Recess and Shameless, like that whole scene, that whole era of like Seattle DJ stuff. Super influential and important to me. It was really awesome to just be welcomed into that, as you know, an outsider basically. And like again, like life happened, we moved back to the Midwest, and like, you know, we kind of mentioned it before we got into like the recording here, but like Ben Tactic, and who's in Portland now, has spent the night and has been, you know, doing really cool shit in Portland for a long time. He was already like a good friend of mine. He was still living in the Kansas City area. I moved back to that area, and he's just like, dude, like why don't we do this thing like together? Like, we have fun playing records together. We've tagged before. Like, I want to get into production. Be interested in starting another label, all this kind of stuff. And like, we did all of that. Like Tactic as an entity, like, happened, you know, 2005, 2006. We started Think Twice Records around the same time frame, more electronic focused, but still had that mindset of being like, all right, cool. Like, we want to like try and highlight like local regional stuff, and like, you know, eventually ended up getting more of like a national and like global appeal with some of the music. So that, and then we started throwing parties, which ultimately led to me taking on more of that once Ben got the job with Adidas and moved to Portland. He did that. That's like 2008, 2009. I told you this was a long story. Sorry.
No, it's good.
But like around that time frame, it was just like, okay, cool. Like, I have this degree in music business, which I graduated from at Middle Tennessee State, right? And I've already like dabbled in some of these things. Like, I really want to like figure out how to carve a path that's like sustainable, like, you know, consistent money, right? In the music industry, because I feel like that's where I belong. That's what I know. That's what I love. That's what I can talk about till, you know, I bore people to death. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm becoming more of like a working DJ in Kansas City community. This was, you know, doing sushi bar happy hours to like after hours raves, and then like honestly really got into like open format stuff, because it was just like, you guys already know, like that's where good steady money is at least back in those days. So it was like, you know, all of a sudden I'm like DJing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week, sometimes taking on private gigs, adding in some weddings, whatever the fuck, right? And like that took off, and then like I was like, okay, cool, like I great, like I'm established, and I actually like stepped away from like a day job to like fully focus on music. This was 2010, 2011. I was just like, I want to do more, right? And that's like honestly when I started throwing more like themed parties, bringing in out of town talent. It's when I started like, you know, using my network of like regional promoters and other, you know, nerdy DJ folks like myself to put together little mini tours. I did that for Gesture, Astronomar, and some other folks. And like, yeah, so like that was happening. Then I started like writing for like blogs and stuff, like edm.com, and then eventually like Do Androids Dance. So I was like doing the writing thing, which got me into PR, which like me diving into PR got management companies to start like tapping into me and being like, hey, what do you think about this? Yada, 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 effectively like consulting with them, right? So it's just like the snowball thing started to happen where it's like, okay, like I'm permeating a bunch of different things, but like, what the fuck am I really gonna do? Because like, you know, DJing seemed short term, as much as I love it, and I still love it. Like, you know, I still have all these records behind me and shit. Like, I'm a DJ at heart, and I feel like that's the thing I'm best at, to be fully honest. But like, it's just like it's a means to an end, right? And like I knew that there was going to be some sort of career path that like unveiled itself here. Just wasn't really sure what it was going to be. And like joined up formally with a management company 2012, something like that. And we had a bunch of like up and coming like EDM, bass music, whatever type of talent. And it was cool, and like we were all excited about it, but it was like, okay, cool, like how do we actually turn this into like a sustainable thing, where we're actually generating revenue not only for our clients but for our business. And you know, none of the clients had a booking agent, and like they collectively came to me, you know, the whole entire team. They're like looking at me being like, hey, we've got a lead at a boutique agency in New York City, that's willing to take on the whole roster, and we just need to send someone in to go be the agent for the whole team. Brent, do you want to do it? And I was just like, I don't want to fucking be an agent, man. I don't like agents. Like that's sales, dude. Like I don't want to be in sales, you know what I mean? And like I had a very visceral reaction to it initially, but like again, like life stuff had happened. Like I felt like DJing had run its course. I felt like I honestly like it kind of hit my ceiling in Kansas City, just as far as like overall potential. Or at least like interesting opportunities, right? Like I felt like I, you know, had hit that wall and like it's like fuck it, why not? Like I'm 34, 35 at this time. Why not? Why not try something new? Why not start over, right? And that's when I moved to New York. August 2014, moved here, started working at that agency. I don't even know if they exist anymore, but like, you know, obviously grateful to Ricky Greenstein and like that whole team just in regards to giving me a shot, right? And you know, from there, like first of all, like I hit rock bottom when I was in New York City, like being like, okay, cool, like my lifestyle is no longer sustainable. And I got sober. And that's February 2016. And like when I got sober, like that's honestly when things started to click. I was just like, you know, this the matrix started to like make sense to me. And I was just like, okay, like I can actually do this. And I think I can do it really well because like I actually give a fuck about the music that I'm talking about. And that like honestly started to snowball. I went to Rogue Agency 2016, you know, Phenom. We had our moment there back in those days. And like Rogue to Madison House in 2019, pandemic hit, was going to be, you know, a really awesome team at Madison House going into 2020, but the pandemic blew all that shit up. But I like hung on to that for a while. And then coming out of the pandemic, some things happened there just in regards to like, you know, staff changes and very tragically, one of the co-owners and founders of that agency passed away 2021 October. So it was just like one of these things like, okay, again, writing on the wall, let's make a move. And that's when I went to ETP start of 2022. That's where I'm at right now. And like for whatever reason, like, you know, my path, my thinking, my passion has like translated into like you know, I just had the best year I've ever had as a professional in 2023. And it's like, cool, projections are actually looking like it's going to be even better in 2024. Like maybe I found that thing finally, you know, that I was starting to look for, you know, 15, 20 years ago, being like, how do I turn this into like a sustainable career? And like I feel like I'm here now.
Hell
So
yeah.
it's a long story. Hopefully that
It's a good one. It's an
Yeah.
It
cool.
is because it is.
I like that
I
story.
feel like it's something we've talked about on this podcast a lot, like the DJ after plan. Like everybody here likes DJing, but like you said, in certain markets you just hit a ceiling, and then you're like, well, what's the game plan after this?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
don't
you know,
want to
you
be in clubs forever, you know. Like there's no one that's like can't wait to go out and be up until 3 a.m. and you know see when the invoice lands and you know like no, there's I've never met anyone that aspires for that.
No, and like you know, I'm turning 45 in May, and like you know, I'm thinking about it from the standpoint of like even like as an agent, right? Like working on like cool underground whatever sort of electronic music stuff. Like who wants to see the guy that shows up, you know, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning to see the cool new hyped thing, you know, act whatever, play at a party at that time of night, and I've got all this gray on my face and in my hair, just being like, this is really cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's not. It's cool that you guys talk about it on this podcast, but I'm not sure that it gets talked about enough, just in regards to like, you know, how a career in this business can continue to evolve, and like, you know, maybe the thing that you're not even remotely thinking about being interested in turns out to be the thing that you're actually interested in, at least for a period of time. And that's kind of how like the agent thing has worked out for me.
And I want to talk a bit more on the roster too. Going to share a couple of names with the listeners here. It's fucking bulletproof. Craze, Todd Edwards, Mark Farina, Cut Chemist, Bag Raiders, Soul to Soul, just to name a few on the agency. Like
just a little,
you know, like
just a little.
As a DJ and as a fan of music, I'm sure some of these names you saw on this list before you're working with them, you're like, this was it. This was like the end all be all growing up, you know, like.
Oh, dude, like when I had the, you know, it kind of happened both with Craze and Cut Chemist. It was like, you know, to have these conversations about potentially working with these guys. I even told him when I was like having that initial call with him, be like, dude, like I have to pinch myself right now.
Yeah.
You're somebody who like I can't even like really put into words how much you've been formative to me and like my musical influences, let alone like just like your DJing. You know what I mean? Like it's honestly um it's kind of twofold because you mentioned a lot of like I don't want to call them all legacy acts, but like that's kind of how we referred to some of the
Sure.
stuff that's been around for a minute. Um, like the legacy stuff is cool, and like to have that sort of opportunity to work with somebody who you've held up on a high pedestal and like you know actually have it click and you work together and like it's exciting work, right? Like Craze and Cut Chemist, I think for me specifically on my roster are great examples because like those guys and it took some time but like they trust me, you know what I mean? Like I'm somebody who's come from at least some sort of similar path as them and I understand what it is that I'm ultimately pitching them for and how it needs to be presented and how it needs to be like you know discussed with them to be like dude
Right.
like with Craze, like Craze is somebody who can play like all these different multi-genre sets, right? And it's like which set are we doing? Is this the right promoter for that set? Is this the right market to be doing this kind of set? All this kind of stuff comes into play with him, right? But I think like the twofold thing that's gotten me connected um to this profession in like the strongest way in a I don't want to say the strongest way in another very strong way is like developing new talent. Like that's one of the reasons why I got started with like the label stuff and writing of blogs and PR and all that kind of stuff previously because like I wanted to be that voice that's like yo like if you like me and if you like trust my ear like I'm telling you like this is the shit, right? And
Yeah.
like giving it you know a background story and like reasons why you should pay attention to it. And you know it took a while for some of that to start to click but I think like that's really the kind of thing that is like um really jump started me as an agent in the last handful of years. And I think really like more so in the last like 2 years because like a couple of things that I bet on have started to pop, right? And like now I can have that additional leverage with some of these promoters and talent buyers that I'm talking to, being like, okay, you remember that one thing that I told you was going to pop that did? Like, all right, now let's talk about the next thing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun for me. I'm like constant. The DJ nerd is in my blood forever. And like I always want to be on new shit. I want to be like talking about the newest shit, that the dopest shit before anyone else. And that's if I could get paid specifically to do that,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. You know,
Yeah.
really.
I remember, you know, you being vocal about Nikki Nair,
Yeah.
you know, a year before it was just like before Bjork was playing the stuff, you know, before all of that.
Yeah,
And
disclosure. Fucking everybody's like, oh, we like this guy. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and then representing and all of that, you know, is just like that's putting your ability as a DJ and a tastemaker and reading the room,
Yeah.
and that's putting that into a space that there's often not a lot of cool shit in the music industry.
No.
Like the things they're pushing are kind of like I don't know.
It's their
Sometimes
own
we see
agenda.
it's a lot of fluff, you
Yeah.
know. It's their own agenda. It's favors. It's this and it's that. To have a boutique agency where you're selling dance music that you actually believe in, it's kind of few and far between. To be completely honest.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting point to say because like I really felt like, you know, I'm coming up on August will be 10 years since I've been in New York. So it's like, you know, they say you spend 10 years here, you're officially a New Yorker. So whatever that means. Like honestly, when I first got here, I was just like, cool, like I'm gonna be a part of this mecca of like culture and like this stuff and like I'm gonna meet so many like-minded people and like we're gonna talk about so many cool things and there's gonna be open-minded like you know sharing of ideas whatever, right? Like this whole like mystified utopia of non-realistic shit that like you know I was drinking that Kool-Aid heavy but like I got here and like you know Phenom like for real like everything that you just talked about like it's here like it's like this is one of the places where like all of those like industry I don't want to say industry plants because like I feel like everything has a purpose for whatever reason, but like
Yeah.
you know, like so many of those things that are already predetermined that like this setup is here and like this is going to be what you're going to focus on. Like this is where so much of that starts. And like, I don't know, man, it was like a big time culture shock that first like couple of years, you know, that I was here. And I think, you know, part of getting sober really like helped me just like see through the fog and be like, okay, like, so it's not exactly what I thought it was, but like still like I'm in like, you know, literally I arguably the most influential city in the world. You know, when it comes to like music and art and culture and whatever, like how can I carve out my niche here? And like, you know, the thing that I see, you know, with like other agents and other agencies, et cetera, like you know, I try to play nice as much as possible because like there's honestly good-hearted people that like dope shit at other places, but like they've kind of like gone more on the path of like, okay, like whatever I'm told to work on, I'm gonna work on. Like that's my job, and like this is a job, and that's whatever, right? To me, it's much more of a like it's who I am, like it's how I identify as a person, right? And like maybe that's problematic in some ways that like you know, I'll talk about music and sports literally before anything else. And like so much of like everything else in life is pretty trivial to me. Jokes, but like kind of
for real. Yeah, for real though.
but you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
how do I turn this into like an actual identity that people can relate to? And like, you know, that's I knew there was an opening there. Like what you just identified, dude, like that's what I knew there was an opening there. And if I could like make enough noise on, you know, the level like what we just talked about in regards to like, you know, uplifting the legacy stuff that deserves to be uplifted, right? And then finding the new shit that's like, okay, I'm on this before you, right?
Yeah. Even
So
even your work as with Cool Kids too. You know, I felt like, dude, this story needs to be told. They could film a fucking movie on the Cool Kids, and kids now would still be like, this is that dope shit.
Oh,
They
yeah,
would
for
they
sure.
would hear it, they would see it and be like, I'm gonna go over there. You know, just as De La's having their moment with getting everything online on streaming.
Yeah, Cool Kids is an interesting story. Like, you know, I was so excited to be working on that project because, like, you know, you coming up in Chicago, like, I'm sure you can identify with it even more than me, right? But like, me just like starting to live on the internet, right? And like 2005 or whatever, and Cool Kids came out. I was just like, this is the coolest fucking shit I've ever heard, right? And I felt like there was like even then just like more of a missed opportunity of like that style of music becoming, you know, the biggest fucking thing on planet Earth. Regardless, right? You know, it was like one of those things that I felt like it got shortchanged at the time. And then like when
Well, it's the Chicago curse. I mean, I'm from Chicago too, so we've been talking about the Chicago curse for a long time.
I feel you, and like, you know, maybe there's a deeper discussion. I don't want to eat up too much time on it, but
Oh,
like,
no, we could talk.
well, it's just like you know, like that relationship in regards to working with them didn't really click, right? And like, you know, we're talking about this legacy stuff that it's like, okay, cool, like I want to uplift these things and tell this story that deserves to be told. That was my intention with that, but like they had, I don't want to call them out because like you know, they're legends and they can do whatever they want, you know what I mean? But like I feel like there were unrealistic expectations there in regards to like what was actually going to come from them coming back, and like it just fizzled, you know what I mean? It's just like this could have been something really fun for all of us to do. It just didn't work out. So maybe that's just the continued Chicago curse.
Side question: Do you have a relationship with Pat, the manager?
Is that current manager? Probably not.
No, from
No.
you're talking about Chance the Rapper's
Chances.
former manager.
Okay.
Pat. Yeah.
Gotcha.
What were you gonna say about Chance?
Who, me?
Well,
No,
that's a
no.
whole
I
other
was
story.
wondering because it was like kind of around the same time, a little bit, you know, a little bit of the same circles too. So
the Save Money crowd,
Yeah.
Big Vince, Chance, Cool Kids.
Yeah.
It's all kind of similar circles.
Yeah.
I want to kind of double click back on that sobriety topic that you were bringing up,
Cool.
and that transition from Kansas City to New York. You know, I know you had pit stops in Seattle, of course. What was it for you that made you decide this isn't viable as far as drinking, partying, being previous Brent Tactic and being business oriented? Hey, I got to get my shit on the grind and hit the road.
There's a lot there, but I think I can be pretty direct with it. Like, you know, Kansas City was so much of a open playground of sorts. Where it was like such a small contingent of like, you know, venues and bars and like, you know, people that were filling those calendars and folks that I was working with, and like I was friends with bartenders like every fucking place. I dude, like I can't, I definitely have zero idea how much I drank for free in Kansas. Right. And it was just like, it was encouraged, right? Like, you know, Midwest shit, like you guys, I'm sure can identify, and maybe even just everybody on this little podcast here. But like, when you're in a smaller market, like, what do you do to pass the time? You get fucked up. Like that's how it came up, right? And you know, making that jump to New York City, trying to maintain that similar sort of like, not even just necessarily lifestyle, but just like just overall presence, right? Like just being where I thought I needed to be, being, you know, around the people that I thought were ultimately going to be the ones to help me, whatever sort of stuff that, like, you know, is feeding myself. It's like, it was very quickly revealed to be unsustainable just from the standpoint of like money is concerned.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Good quick story, just like it was very early on in like my time here, but like a couple of really close friends of mine who actually moved upstate during the pandemic, but like you know, pretty rooted in just Brooklyn culture, city culture in general when I was here. And like they were just like, okay, cool, like you're gonna come to this party with us, we're gonna introduce you to everybody, hopefully you can get like a DJ gig at this thing at some point in time, gonna be cool people for you to meet, you should come, right? This is on like a fucking, I don't know, Tuesday night, whatever, sort of like weekly thing that was like honestly like a big social deal in the city, Tribeca area. If you know anything about the city, that like that's not the cheapest area of town, but I had no idea. But anyway, like we go and I'm just like, all right, this is cool. I can get down with this. And like at that time, still very active, and like I call myself an alcoholic, like very active alcoholism, you know, just being like, okay, like I'm uncomfortable. I need a drink to like feel comfortable. And I found like this whiskey drink that they were making at the bar that was on like their list of stuff that was, I had one and I was just like, this is one of the best drinks I've ever had in my life. Fuck it, let's run it. You know what I mean? And then by the end of it, I got my bill, and like my bill, I had like, I don't know, 7 of these, 8 of these, whatever it was. And like my bill was almost $300. And I was just like, this is not, I can't, I was funny at the time because I was drunk, but like, you know, the next day I was just like, holy shit, like I'm not made of money. Like what the fuck am I doing? Right. And then honestly, like the thing that really started to be a catalyst here is like I started dating this woman that like, and we were doing a long distance thing. She was actually in Chicago and I was here in New York, but like she got sober, and you know, kind of planted the seed with me on a ridiculously continual basis that maybe I had a problem. But she was just like, hey, like I'm getting sober. I'm doing these things to maintain sobriety. Maybe you should think about it too. And like, you know, one thing led to another, and I made some promises to try some controlled drinking and failed miserably. Just absolutely miserable. And so like the light started to go off, right? And then it was like, you know, that last night of drinking was very much you know, it was so whack, dude. Like it was so whack. Like I signed up to DJ this party in Lower East Side for a bunch of like local rappers here in New York that like none of them were spectacular. We'll say that. I'll say that. You know what I mean? They weren't bad. It was just like it wasn't like, oh my God, I need to play this party. It was more so like I feel like I should because I'm gonna, you know, $100 or whatever the fuck. Right. And like, you know, just DJing their instrumentals, whatever, them rapping and doing their thing. And I'm just like, okay, why am I here? And like, you know, that thing kicked in where it was like, I don't feel comfortable. I need to drink. So I just started taking like massive amounts
Oh
of
no.
like well whiskey, and it was disgusting, right? But I
On
like
stage?
and in between sets,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Here,
where I
there.
was at, if it was in
The
my hand,
venue.
I was
The
consuming
venue.
it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just like that happening, and then like, you know, ultimately getting home, and it's I think it's a hilarious story that, like, you know, this woman, she was also like a musician, incredibly talented, like just immaculate singing voice, and has been on a bunch of cool records and like all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like literally, and having that euphoric moment. And if you drink a lot, like, you know, this moment, it's like you're like the room is kind of spinning, but not really, right? And it's like you're just wavy enough that it's like, fuck, I feel good.
Yeah.
Doesn't last long, but like, you know, I was in that. I was thinking about her. I was just like, yeah, you know, this is gonna work out. This is gonna be cool. Like, you know, I'm in the right place. Everything's gonna happen. You know, blah blah blah, whatever. Like this euphoric, whatever sort of like happy drunk moment. And it's like 5 a.m, right? And she called me. She called me at 5 a.m, and like she's not the type of woman that if you don't answer, that, you know, that you could just let it go. Like she will continue to call, right?
Yeah.
I know all of you have probably been in a relationship with somebody like that before. Um, so like I just answered it, and she could tell immediately that how hammered I was, and she did her justifiable thing. It was just like, dude, like you've been lying to me this whole time about your control drinking. Like I'm fucking over this. Like I'm done, right? And like in that moment, I was like, well, fine, whatever. Like I'll just, you know, I'll apologize tomorrow and like tell her it won't happen again, and like, you know, do the same thing that I've been doing for however long, apologizing to all these people in my life. And like, I don't know, just that next day I just woke up and like it was different. You know what I mean? Like I felt broken enough to where I was just like actually looking at myself in the mirror and being like, dude, like you're the problem. You're the common denominator in this entire situation. Like all the shit that's gone wrong in your life, or like things that you're complaining about. Like, why don't you do something? And that was really the catalyst. So
Dude. And how many years since then?
the end of February will be 8 years.
Incredible. Fucking incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Did you notice in the scene that people started to treat you differently once you went sober?
Majority of people don't give a fuck, man.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, anybody else that I talk to, really, that you know, DJ culture, music industry culture, etc., they're just like, I feel pressured to do XYZ.
Right.
Like, dude, that's internalized. That's your shit that you need to process and deal with. Cause like, you know, sure, I understand like that certain level of anxiety that kicks in. Cause like I you know, I outlined it multiple times in that story, just being like, I felt uncomfortable, so I changed the way I feel. I felt, right? Which was by taking a drink or smoking weed or whatever the fuck I was doing.
Right.
You know, you find other ways to channel that energy, right? Like that anxiety doesn't have to just stay in that state. Like, you know, feelings are not facts, right?
Right. Right.
You know, and like if you
That's a
need
big one.
if you need to change the way you feel, maybe change your thought. You know what I mean? Like these little catchphrases that I started to be told, you know, early on in sobriety, I was just like, that's cheesy and cliche, and like that's so stupid. And like the longer I've been sober, I'm just like, man, that makes a lot of sense.
They're cliches for a reason.
Because they work. You know what I mean? Like we may hate on them because they're still.
It sounds so dumb, but like when you live in it, you start to realize how true it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Neek and I have spoke on it privately, and I think I've probably talked with Jupiter and Grant on this as well. There is a bit of award that comes with accountability as far as in working. You know, more people can trust in you if you're not drinking, and you get these opportunities where they're like, oh, I know he's not going to get fucked up. Toss him in. You know, or on the flip side of the coin, oh, he's always drunk. No fucking chance. You know,
100%.
like can't put him into corporate, you know, we don't know. It's a wild card. We don't know what's going to happen. And I think within the music industry too, that a lot of legacy acts, as you mentioned, are more inclined to trust somebody that's about their wits 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think there's just an overall movement in general in the industry that it's like, not even so much from like a being sober, but just somebody who's like really accountable and transparent and doesn't bullshit and lie. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain level of like honesty and transparency and like continually showing up. Um, that like seems to, I don't want to say it's like it's permeated every aspect of like what I'm ultimately working in, but like, majority of my clients that have been with me for a while, I feel like that's a reason, right? And like, having those discussions with new potential clients and like, not even like waving the sobriety flag to them or whatever, because I don't think it needs to be like a big topic necessarily, but like my reputation of being accountable and like showing up and like, doing the thing that I said that I'm gonna do, like that, dude, like you guys already know, like your reputation in this industry is literally everything.
Right. Right.
Well, it's funny because I always think about that, like the John Mulaney joke about when you stop drinking, and you you can't have that as an excuse. He's like, and you don't realize how good of an excuse, oh, I was drunk is. He's like, because then you're just like, I'm sorry about yesterday. I was just an asshole. Like there's no, you don't have the blanket of like I was drunk. You're just like, I guess I was just mean. I'm sorry. Like,
it was just me.
yeah, it was just me.
Yeah.
And shit, like, and it's true with drinking. I think a lot of DJs sometimes will have the same kind of excuse. They're like, I mean, I was drunk. I'm a better DJ than that. I was just I had too many shots. But then when you're sober and then you have a bad night, you're just like, I had a bad night. I can figure it out. I can work on it. But when you're drunk, you're just like, that's just
the accountability kind of gets washed.
100%.
Yeah, it's in the forefront, and I think too, once that's off the table, like you mentioned, it helps you kind of see that clarity in, okay, maybe this path, this trajectory I'm on, this $300, $200 a night bar gig, where I'm also, I'm living it up, I'm getting all my drinks comp, whatever. You're like, this shit kind of fucking sucks. You like look around and you're like, these people aren't my friends. No one cares if I get home safe. The music doesn't fucking matter. No one's listening. Like once you get past that facade and kind of take a step back and look inside to that, you're like, whoa. No one gives a shit.
It's humbling and enlightening at the same time.
Yeah.
100%. And like, it was right before the pandemic, so I think it worked out for the right reasons or whatever. But like the last like, it was a weekly, but like the last like residency that I had, like I let go, right? I didn't get fired. I didn't get told to like change the format or like anything really, other than like, owner was wanting to make some changes and was suggesting some other people to like play the night with me. But I just was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to, every single Friday I'm here and I don't like it really. And for various different reasons. Like I'm always somebody from a DJ perspective that like tried to fit in, even if I'm playing open format and like, more pop leaning stuff, it's like songs that I like actually like, whether it's old or in between. It's like, I want to be having fun while I'm doing this too, but like just wasn't having fun with it anymore. And like, it was just like, even as a sober dude, it was just like completely a zombie on Saturdays, because it was like, I worked all day and then I was at the club from 10 till 4 in the morning. Right. And it was just, this isn't worth it. This is not cool. And being able to step back and being like, you know what, I'm going to be okay letting this go. Right. Like this weekly at a bar in Brooklyn it's not what defines me. You know what I mean? Like I have a bigger story to tell. And if I make myself more available to tell the story that I want to tell, instead of like forcing myself to take a paycheck,
Major.
Yes.
The integrity is often left at the door for a lot of these gigs. And, unfortunately, you can't flex that music muscle. You can kind of get in the same neighborhood, but you're not going to be at the right house, like you are still, it's catering, and I think it's definitely a privilege to be able to get out of that we're all seeking out. We're seeking that privilege to be like, cool, I don't need to play fucking Get Low at midnight, great. Something that doesn't move the needle.
Well, I mean, like, I think that's really like the thing that has been revealing over, what did I walk away from that? Like 2019-ish. So it's been 4 or 5 years, right? Pandemic included, but like, walking away from that, still being connected to a lot of open format DJs in regards to like just long-term friendships,
Sure.
Social media, etc. And I'm seeing the same complaints, right? I'm seeing the same critique about like how people like whack music, or like, dude, like the one thing that really was starting to become triggering for me was just the incessant requests, and how they would like progress through the night, right? Like 10 p.m., whatever, they're at least like, for the most part, I don't even want to say like respectful, but like they're coherent.
Yeah, right.
And then at like, 3 a.m, it's like, this person's like spitting on you, right?
Yeah.
And like slurring their
Flicking
words,
money at you.
doesn't understand that you're responding to them with. Like that really started to become triggering for me. And that was like a big reason why I stepped away. But like, I've missed the Bad Bunny wave, and I'm not sad that I did. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I went through that in Kansas City with like fucking Beyonce and Rihanna, who I both love, but like, like I don't like being told what to play.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I stomached it for long enough. And I don't know how anybody maintains a life.
I just recorded a clip for Instagram where I was telling a story of like one time I was DJing and I was like I was playing dance music and I was kind of transitioning over into hip hop, like kind of switch the crowd up. And this woman, I guess she must have realized what was happening. She's like, "Can you play?" And I can't remember the song, but she was like, "Can you play Moneybag Yo?" And it was like I'd never played this song before, but I was like, sure, why not?" I throw it on and it empties the bar. Like not just like clears the dance floor, like empties the bar. And
like, fuck this.
and I was like mad, but then she immediately came up and she's like, "I'm so sorry." She's like, "I'm from Atlanta and that song usually kill." I don't know what happened. I was like, it's nice to at least get acknowledgement.
That's
that
crazy. I mean, that's
yeah.
Somebody's accountability and ruining the night.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was like, damn, yo, I fucked up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yo.
I'm so sorry. I looked up and I was the only bitch dancing on the dance floor.
As she's leaving, you're like, "You can't leave too. Like,
You guys help me.
Please don't leave."
She's
me.
like, now my friends want to go.
Yeah.
Sorry, made a bad call. Sorry,
Yeah.
we gotta go.
Yeah,
She's
that's
like,
why
you
you're
didn't
out
have to
there
play
and
it.
I'm over here.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you're like, "I played it, so maybe I'll join you out there for the next song," and then
You
I'll
play one.
reevaluate. Yeah. Brent, as Gen Z is moving towards sobriety and wellness and wanting to get out of drinking, we see numbers, of people not partying as much. Bar sales are down as far as the younger demographic. What do you think their trajectory is for nightlife and dance music?
Man, that's a weighted question. I mean, the part of me just being the hopeless optimist, even though I'm like intrinsically a hater, like the optimist side of me is like, it'll evolve and like we'll figure stuff out. And I think honestly, there's like an aging demographic that I feel like I fall into that like is not being catered to. Don't have to necessarily revolve around, wellness or sobriety or whatever. Like it can cater to like, Jenny who's 45 and like this is her first night out in 3 months or whatever. But like having something earlier that's like ends at a reasonable hour, right? Like and those folks have money, right? Like literally have money, and like the idea of them, going out and turning the fuck up and being home in bed by midnight and they got to experience the whole night. I think there's a lot of missed opportunity there.
It's like my one night only show. Shameless plug.
Anyone takes
one
my
night only show
or runs with it here, like I want 10%. Straight up, like, and I just went to Holy Shipwrecked in Mexico like 3 weeks ago, and like I felt like it wasn't necessarily like this amazing experience, but it was like very revealing in a lot of ways where it was just like, okay, like there's there's people who are willing to spend thousands of dollars to go somewhere and do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, step it up. You know what I mean? The destination thing, I think, is just getting started, really, on like multiple levels and multiple genres, right? It doesn't even have to really be electronic music. I think there's missed opportunities in other genres too. And like, back to your question in regards to like, you know, how do you keep, you know, the maybe like the younger crowd, influential, whatever sort of folks engaged? Dude, I don't know. I mean, like, I look at it as much through the lens of like my daughter as possible. Like, she turns, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but like in 9 days, she's about to turn 21.
Oh shit!
Happy birthday!
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's funny to us, and like I say us just from the standpoint of like when I was 21, like I was a fucking degenerate. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have any like plan. Like it was like, you know, like where
No, we're
what
getting fucked up.
Literally in the
We're
wind.
getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And like, dude, like she just did the whole like moving in with her partner, moved in with her partner in August. She's re-enrolled in school to like transfer there, and is like setting up this whole plan to like establish residency to save a bunch of money on her tuition. She got this awesome job being like running a desk at a retirement facility there that she's making more money than she's ever had. And like
one of those would be major for us at that age. One of those.
like the idea of like, you know, escaping reality, which is like so much of like what I was using drugs and alcohol for, like it doesn't even register with her. So, you know, I again, just back to like, you know, before I set that whole thing up, is like, you know, trying to look at it through the lens of like, all right, what's appealing to them?
Right.
Is it somebody like picking out fucking TikTok videos and like streaming it to the whole fucking crowd? I don't know, dude. Like I really don't know what makes them tick, but like it's different. It's changing. And like if nightlife clubs, you know, promoters, talent buyers, whatever, like if they're not thinking about it as like, dude, like we may need to like really like completely change shit up just to be able to keep up and continue to appeal to a younger demographic and keeping them coming and spending money, like, you know, I feel like you're fucking up if you just think that like, okay, we're just gonna double down and try harder, or like, you know, change up the format and play, you know, 80s music instead of rap, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like it's there needs to be, not needs to be, my opinion, right? There should be more of like an open-minded attack and just, you know, what are these kids actually into? And like maybe they want cinnamon rolls, free cinnamon,
right?
I don't know what it is, but like just have an open, don't just like stick to, you know, this routine of I'm sure you guys have seen it on some level in like your own markets and whatnot, but it used to happen in Kansas City all the time. It's like, all right, we're gonna do dance music for 6 months, and then eventually like that dies out, and they're like, all right, like we'll start booking DJs to play rap again, and I'm like, oh, Kansas City is like super fucking racist, so they're just like, all right, it's getting too dark in here, like we need to like lighten it up. And like can't tell you how many times like a GM or whatever would come in my ear and say some shit like that, and I'm just like, is that sort of rotation of being closed-minded in regards to like appealing to people and actually making them feel welcome and appreciated, and like their dollar is appreciated, like
Literally nightlife 101.
100%, man.
Yeah. There's no observance, you know. It's what we see now is most people, owners are like, let's try a Latin night. Oh, everyone likes Bad Bunny, let's go in that direction, you know. And it's like kind of like it's joked as a last ditch effort. Let's just try to
throwing darts at a board.
Yeah,
let's do ladies night and like
ladies free
12 shots.
Yeah, you know, like that's
Jersey parties, y'all.
Come on. Foam party. There you go. It's not pushing the needle though, you know, and without that next wave of people being ushered into nightlife and feeling any need to leave their house when they have fucking this at home, and this has everything you fucking need, it's gonna eventually be a ghost town in these spots.
Yeah,
we're seeing it more and more. You know, I wanted to ask
you gotta get
you
a
since
reason to spend money, man. You gotta get a
Right.
reason.
yeah,
Right.
and everyone's fucking broke too. That's the other, you know, with fucking inflation and this, that, and the other. You know, you mentioned 7 drinks, $300 in New York, if you're lucky. Sometimes more. You know, and it's like that's real life shit. You know, I want to touch on. You mentioned festivals. You were doing Holy Shipwreck and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You attend a lot of festivals through the agency, through the artists you work with. Tell us right now top 3 festivals as far as lineup wise, like good diversity and having that foresight to see this is dope, pushing the needle forward, as
Yeah.
well as output, what you're actually seeing as far as experiential.
Sure. I mean, you know, part of that, I love this question because like it's really like I took it upon myself to spend a decent amount of my own money in 2021. Like, you know, when things kind of came back, right, out of the pandemic, things started opening up, like bigger shows started to actually happen. And you know, I wanted to experience more. I wanted to connect more with my clients, and like I got, you know, some very helpful and constructive criticism from somebody who is a peer of mine, and he was just because like he was doing stuff that like I wanted to be doing, and I'm just like, dude, like, you know, what's the secret, right? And he's just like, dude, like I spend all this fucking time with my clients, right? Like you want to keep these folks around for X amount of years and like really like see it all the way through, like they need to like you, not just be like you're the guy who gets me, you know, shows, but like building the relationship, right? So I started doing that in 2021, and like, you know, then getting the travel and expense budget in 2022 and 2023 to go do some more of this. And like I've been really blessed that like, you know, I have a handful of clients that are pretty in demand festival circuit wise right now. So like I've been given the excuse, right? And trust me, I've seen complete like dog shit attempts at trying to do some of this stuff. But like there are some that are out there that are pretty fantastic. I think my top 2 favorites. One I went to for the first time in 2023. The other one I've been to in 2022 and 2023 is Base Coast, which is in that's in Merritt, British Columbia.
Okay.
And Shambhala, which is in Salmo, British Columbia, both out in the sticks, you know, like very Canadian sort of like environment. But like Base Coast uh is founded by women and very heady women who have a very deep appreciation for forward thinking music. And like older demographic that they cater to, and like the festival always sells out and like all this kind of stuff. Like there's no real, it's like there's art installations basically with the stages. There's no LED wall, there's no super crazy lighting other than like some cool can lighting, and like later in the night they'll bring out some lasers, but like it's all about the music. And like uh dude, like I want one of the best and most incredible DJ sets I've ever heard was at that festival this past summer. It was DJ Lag. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but like South African dude, big on the Guam EQOM circuit. Like he's basically the godfather of that shit. And like seeing him do his thing on that stage in that environment, I was like dancing next to fucking EPROM, and we're both like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Right? So that was really cool. And just like the way that it's curated, there's bass music, there's techno, there's house, there's more like, you know, main stagey friendly stuff that's crossoverable. They usually do some sort of like interactive piece on their day stage, where it's like 2 years ago was Boiler Room. This past year they did a Keep Hush event. So it's like you want to be on the fucking internet, like you can go backstage and dance around to like your DJ going. You know what I mean? Like there's, and it's there's healthy food at the food trucks and like all sober and alcoholic drinks. It's like it's There's even like sobriety meetings there if you wanted to like tap out of the festival for a minute. And there's just like this overall experience thing. Shambhala is kind of like that, but more on like crack. Like it's way more in your face. Like more stages, more loud ass music. Like if any of you guys ever get a chance to go to the village stage at Shambhala, PK Sound. It's like PK Sound runs the majority of the festival from a sound perspective, but like the village stage is like their baby. So it's like the biggest, loudest, most obnoxious PK sound rig ever experienced in your entire life is at that stage, and it's like it's fucking like it's like a castle out of like Game of Thrones, right?
Wow.
It's a lot. And and it's not necessarily like my scene music wise. Like I have some clients that make sense on that stage, but like, you know, there's that. And then you can go to the Grove stage. It's like completely different vibe. Like there's Ross from Friends and fucking Channel Tress and you know, more UK leading stuff, etc., whatever, right? And then like you go over here and there's more heady things, and then you go down by the water and there's like disco and house and like all this kind of stuff. It's like, and both of them are camping festivals. I'm not a camper, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I got to stay in a hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%
Whole
right
thing,
there
but
with you.
like, you know, if that's your vibe, like there's really cool opportunities for that at both of those festivals. And then on like a more of a major thing that I really enjoyed, and I think I got to enjoy it more so than maybe like the GA crowd. But that was Hard Summer this past summer in LA. They did it at the Coliseum.
Oh yeah.
It used to be out in San Bernardino on like the fucking concrete where they do a lot of their festivals and stuff, and it's like not necessarily like the most inviting environment, especially in the middle of the summer, but like
Yeah.
Coliseum was sick. And like one of my acts got to play one of the biggest sets of his life in the Coliseum, like, you know, looking out at like the fucking, you know, Olympic flame from 1984. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
So sick.
that shit was cool, you know, and then like getting to see Bicep in like the soccer stadium that's right next door, you know what I mean? Like Insomniac, Insomniac gets such a crazy rap. To go off on a quick tangent, but like they get such a crazy rap because like, yeah, they're fucking EDC and like, you know, they're global conglomerate that like a lot of people are like, this is whack. I don't feel that way, not just because they send my artists offers and like we make money together, but like, you know, they're getting to know how intrinsic, you know, it is from their internal operations with like, all right, these people will get assigned this account to be like, all right, you're the talent buyer for this account, right? And like building relationships with those people and finding out how they tick and what they're into and like how they're ultimately trying to, you know, showcase that side of stuff that they're very passionate about. Like it's been very revealing, you know, working with that team and like, you know, kind of finding out that like, oh, you guys actually like cool shit and you're trying, right? Like, you're actually trying. You're making the most of the situation that you're dealing with, right? I fuck with that vibe, you know.
So funny because like you know, I work with a production company up here in Alaska, and we've done 2 years of our festival now. And last year we had like our biggest lineup to us, obviously to us that booked it and kind of planned it.
Sure.
And when the lineup dropped, you know, some people were happy, some people were not. And, you know, I remember talking to Helen, one of the co-owners, and she was like,
shout out.
She was like, you know, it's just like, I just wish people would like it. And in my head, I just remember thinking, I'm like, people complain about every lineup. They complain about Coachella, Ultra, EDC, Shambhala. There's always someone complaining in the comments. I was like, it's
like how it used to be. Yeah, whatever. Bullshit, you know?
But it just becomes this weird thing of like, yeah, everyone's going to complain, but it's like we do love the music that we book, and we try to like at least try to reach out to a little bit of everybody, you know. But it's just like this interesting thing
you know,
when you come to a festival.
I'm 100% on board with that. You know, like sure, like I'm growing my business as an agent and like, you know, reaching out into, you know, the AEGs and the Live Nations and whatever of the world, because like I'd have to for some of my clients. But like, you know, ultimately I told you the whole story at the top. Like I'm fucking self-starter DIY guy from the jump, right? And like that's I like that. And like I like working with those folks that have that sort of like this is our money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is Live Nation's money. Like this is our money, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna spend this in our way. And like they're gonna lean on the people that they trust and then and that, you know, do things right and like present things of value, because like, you know, spending $10,000 or $15,000 on a middle tier act on one of those festivals that's hot, that is going to convert some of those folks that are like maybe on the fence about like, well, I've seen these headliners before, but like that guy on the third line is like somebody who I'm really excited about, and that gets them to buy a ticket. You know what I mean? Like those conversions happen a lot on the indie festival level, and I fuck with that MO a lot. I don't know how to sum that up other than just that. I identify.
That's dope.
Yeah.
A couple of housekeeping things. We're gonna skip our pick today and go right into the lightning round with you. I wanted to ask you a series of 10 questions. It's straight music. It's a this or that. We're gonna take you back to your DJ days. One artist stays, the others deleted out of your Serato, deleted out of your USB sticks.
Oh, I love that. Yes, let's go.
Never ever. Starting with our most recent episode, D'Angelo or Raphael Sadiq?
Keep Raphael Sadiq, delete D'Angelo.
Okay. Who are you keeping between this one, Honey Dijon or Peggy Goo?
Honey Dijon.
Okay. Amy Winehouse or Dua Lipa?
Amy Winehouse as a music nerd. Dua Lipa if I have to DJ tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Project Pat or Trick Daddy?
Fuck.
Now we're talking.
Probably keep Pat just because like that's just
It's Pat. It's because it's Pat.
Yeah.
Pat. That's the universal answer.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I'm just like, God damn, 3-6 Mafia is the coolest shit that's ever existed.
Yeah. Until I ask this question, 3-6 Mafia or Wu-Tang Clan?
3-6 Mafia.
Okay, easy.
Yeah.
Easy. White Stripes or UGK?
God. Keep UGK.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm more inclined to play rap than I am a fucking rock record. So.
Yeah, Yeahs or No Doubt?
Yes.
Okay. LCD or The Strokes?
LCD.
Mastercraft or Digitalism?
Mastercraft, more weapons.
Okay. Armand or Fatboy Slim?
Armand. Love them both, but Armand. Better just like, you know, you don't know me alone. It's like
Coolest.
Coolest.
He is.
Have you seen the I don't know if you guys, I'm guessing maybe one of you follows Bauer on Instagram. Like
yeah.
Sample that stuff. He just recently covered that one and like
Yeah, he did.
Sample break. Yeah.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
His series on Instagram is fucking killing it right now. I love it.
It is. It's like a weird like side tangent thing that he started, and now I'm like, I love these things. They're great.
Oh man, yeah. No, I just saw him at the Fool's Gold Party, and it was my favorite set of the night, more so than anyone. So, well, next to the Spank Rock reunion, I will say that. Like the Spank Rock reunion holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I feel that.
Jay Dilla or Pete Rock?
Dilla's like my favorite artist probably of all time. So he wins out over pretty much anyone.
Let's do Chili Peppers or MGMT?
Neither.
It's a Mike B situation.
MGMT. It's quick. MGMT.
No, you're fine.
Like first record, phenomenal, right? And like there's a handful of tunes that you can play from that first record for till the end of time, and it's always going to sound cool. Chili Peppers, like if we're talking Blood Sugar Sex Magic, like that's one of my favorite records of all time. But like you play that and no one knows any of it. and like the real talk, like there's great hair over here. Like the Californication and Beyond, it's like it's the same fucking song. It's like you know the Aerosmith crazy crying.
Yeah.
Like the same fucking song over and over again.
I couldn't agree more with that.
It's spot on, and it's still being made. You know, as recent as last
Literally
year.
still making it.
Like, here, you want to headline ACL next year? You know, fucking $500,000. They're probably going to end up being one of those bands that has a residency at the fucking Sphere in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I could see that.
Yep.
I could see that.
And I would not pay to go see it.
No.
I hate to say this out loud sometimes, but
you're going to do this on the podcast?
I'm going to say it on a public platform that's going to be cemented in stone forever.
Stand on it.
Chili Peppers kind of not in a comparison way, but now I say that they kind of remind me of like Korn in a way that's like, it was cool at the time, but now that it's been some time since, I listen to it and it's kind of cringy. It didn't age as well as I hoped.
You don't feel that way about Limp Bizkit, though.
Absolutely not. No.
That's funny, actually.
It's just like the beatboxing thing that
turned you off.
Does, and then like the rapping thing that they do, it just didn't age well. It came across kind of corny now. At the time, it was very cool. And now I listen to it, I'm like, this is silly.
I remember on Chuck Klosterman, one of his books, he talks about like having to go interview Korn, and he was like, and I asked them like, what are your influences? And they're like, we don't listen to any other music. And he's like, and that's what their music sounds like. Learn their instrument, but never listen to anyone else's music.
What is music?
Yeah.
Oh, you were recording this? You have a full album of this? Okay, word. Fuck. From there, we'll take it to Steely Dan or Gangstar.
It's like total polar opposites of the spectrum. It's like you just said something that you're like, I'm afraid to say on a public forum.
Sorry.
I'll say it. Like, I'll take the heat. Like, maybe this is the viral moment of this podcast.
Yes.
Like, I think DJ Premier is overrated.
Whoa.
Of all the takes I thought was coming out of that
I definitely wasn't expected that way.
He like Premier's just not on my Mount Rushmore, right? Like he's fine and like that's cool and I have respect for it. And like I've seen him play with Gangstar. Like I got to see them play at Smoke and Grooves in fucking Kansas City and like fucking 97, some shit like that.
But have you seen him be a security guard?
Shout out to the Mike B episode. DJ Premier, a little backstory. DJ Premier was mistaken as a security guard at Banana Splits Sundays back when he showed up.
Fired. And I've heard he's a sweetheart. I have friends that are friends with him, and a lot of his records are cool. But like, I'm just not like I'm not on that train of like fucking that boom bap. Like I love it.
Yeah, fair.
Heard.
Oh. So are you picking Steely Dan to stay?
Sure.
Let's hear it for Peg, guys.
We got that clip. We got the clip we wanted. We can just fold it up now. We're good to go.
Damn.
Holy fuck.
Hot take. I've said it. I've said it
I
out
love
loud
it.
on their heads, and they just look at me like you're fucking crazy. I'm like,
when the fire starts to burn. I love it. That's why we do this. 2 more for the lightning round, and then a couple housekeeping, and then we'll send you on your way to listen to Gangstar. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Prince. I love them both, but Prince.
Okay. Last but not least.
Hey, real quick though.
Oh, you got one.
Have you guys seen the AI pictures of Michael Jackson playing the guitar like Prince?
No, I'm gonna look that up right now.
Hilarious. And they made Michael Jackson super ripped and shit.
Oh my God. Of course they did.
My bad.
Last but not least, we ask it every single episode: Outcast or Hall & Oates?
Man, I mean, both incredible, but like Outcast is the shit forever and ever, and one of the most formative things I think my ears have ever heard. So
There it is.
I remember.
Hell yeah! Congratulations, you made it through the lightning round. As I'm looking up Prince's guitars.
Oh, there he is. Wow.
Damn.
Wow. Fucking juice.
I saw when he was doing all that press for that flute album. They're talking to, and he was like, "Yeah, Prince told me like after getting off stage with Outkast at the Coachella reunion, like the disastrous. He's like, your problem is you don't know how big you are." And he's like, "Yeah, because like 30 minutes into the Coachella set, he was like, what the fuck is going on?" He's like, "I don't like these in-ear monitors. Who are all these people?" He's like, "I'm out."
I mean, with the flute album, I'm sure you guys have talked about it some, but like Andre doing that, like I think is the coldest fucking thing in the world. Whether or not it was any good, or you have any opinion about like atmospheric whatever flute music, like the fact that he's like, "Yo, my first record in 20 years," like check this shit.
I
like all the people that are putting the beats to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's all that press that's like Andre's dropping an album, and I was on the mountaintop being like, "Suckers! There's no way you're gonna get what you want."
No way.
No way.
It's been too long. And he's like, "Oh, you guys would like for me to do the thing? No fucking chance."
I mean, he just said that in that interview. He said he's like people that are 49 should not rap. So here's my album.
Flutes AF. Okay, 2 questions, and then if we want to add any other questions in here, we got a question from Colin MCT over on the 5 on 5 podcast Instagram. Colin asked, "Did Taylor Swift bring in new blood to Kansas City?"
I was just there for Christmas, so I have seen what that has done to the city firsthand. I don't know if I like it yet, but like I don't hate it. Like it's definitely put a spotlight on a place that is like I would never live there again. With that. But like, you know, a place that I'm fucking repping hardcore. Like Kansas City till I die, right? And the fact that like it's on people's mouths, radar now. Yeah. So the Taylor effect, sure, run it until it's annoying, and then let's not do it anymore.
It's better than the Jackson Mahomes effect. Let me just put it that way.
At least his whatever criminal shit is getting reduced. I don't know if you saw that. If you even
knew. Is it?
3 of the felonies got tossed out by the prosecutors.
Jesus. Wow.
The fact that that's even a story is stupid, but like, yeah, I mean, I will quickly say that like initially when the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift thing started to happen, I thought it was a PR thing. Like I was just like, they're fluffing each other up. This is good press for Taylor. Travis Kelce's trying to set himself up for like post, football life.
Facts.
You're a rock star now, and like there's so much more to it. And apparently they actually connected, and they're actually in a relationship, and it seems like they're actually like in love, which is crazy to think, but cool, good for them. They both decent people, I guess, deserve to be happy. And there's this New York Times piece that came out day before yesterday. It's this week anyway. Just the whole plan that's been like under development and now starting to be there out in everybody's face from Travis Kelce's team, that like they want to turn him into the next Rock. Like that's literally their plan and their goal. It's like we want to be as big as the Rock. And they're like, wow. I was like, really? Okay, all right. Yeah, Rock played football too.
Yeah. I just heard too that they're like.
I mean, that's not what got him famous, but I hear you.
No, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Dude, what the fuck?
He's
All right.
he's running with it, and like the fact that when the Chiefs went through, I guess still kind of going through like some of their struggles with this season, the amount of hate that I get from people that I think are like friends, and
Just because you rep Kansas City.
just like they're piling on. They're like, yeah, fuck them. And I'm just like, man, these folks really like success really got under your skin. God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's putting asses in seats at the end of the day, right? Like,
100%. 100%.
I don't know.
So it'll be interesting to see, if they last. Which he spent fucking $6 million on a place to like hang out with her whenever she can be around him in Kansas City. I think the effect will reveal itself to be what it is in 2 years or 5 years or whatever. Like ultimately good for the city. I've seen some of the wackest t-shirts, some that they're selling, but I'm fine with it. It's cool.
There's your answer, Colin. Kansas City's on the up. On the up.
I mean,
all right. I'm gonna ask. You've been to a lot of places. You've seen a lot of things. Kansas City still the best barbecue in the United States?
Hands down.
Okay.
ooh,
Hands down.
Okay.
And like if you're doubting it, you're wrong. So
I mean,
There's a part-time Texas guy up there.
I do love my Texas barbecue.
Texas barbecue's fine.
Do love my
I'm
Texas
not here
barbecue.
to,
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
I'm not gonna lie, the burnt ends over in Kansas City is just something to die for, though.
Next level.
It's
Yeah.
on some other shit.
And, there's various different things to get, various different restaurants in Kansas City. Like there's multiple specialties and whatnot, but like, chances are majority of these places that are like ranked super high, like have that thing that's like you can eat it and it will change your fucking life. That's just
Well,
how it goes.
we are talking about food, and I wasn't gonna do it because I'm
Ooh, Nick,
tired
he's
of
here.
it. But
Segway King.
when it
Let's
walks
go,
right into
dude.
your lap, you have to
Let's
take it.
go. Let's go.
What I know you're a sober man these days, but
Yeah.
I want to know about a different drug you might take. That is fast food. What I want to know is what is your go-to fast food restaurant, and what is your order?
The Brent Tactic meal.
We want to set you up with a fast food endorsement meal. A
That
la
already sounds
Bad
like a
Bunny.
good marketing deal right there.
Yeah, I mean, Chipotle fast food.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, we'll take.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's like the one now because it's like there's literally one on the corner right out here in my neighborhood now.
Yeah.
Like that's become a go-to there. It's like, fucking 3 chicken soft tacos with white rice, black beans, chicken, corn salsa, sour cream, lettuce and cheese. Like that's just it's like once a week there, just
Nice.
cut.
What's our drink of choice?
Yeah, I'm like lemonade or water.
Boom.
Cool.
Tactic meal.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I mean,
Tactic
like,
meal.
if there was a Jack in the Box like around the corner, that might win out. Like,
What's our Jack in the Box order?
dude, it's been so long since I've been there. I don't even know what the fucking menu is like.
Fair.
But like, there's so many
That's
things.
fair.
Same with a few extras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's new
The
at Jack in the
fucking
Box?
cheap ass tacos are magic
Forever. It's the same.
99-cent taco all day.
Yeah.
What drink is Jack in the Box with?
They
Coke, right?
are a Coke company.
They're a Coke product? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Some Minute
They
Maid
have
lemonade.
some new things. They have like
Right.
they have like some new desserts. I just went like a few weeks ago and I was looking at their menu. I was
Tried
like,
out all the desserts. That's fucking Jack in the Crack.
I have this weird obsession with corporate food. And yeah, Jack in the Box has some new shit. I just tried Starbucks' new menu that came out yesterday.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, I sent
I
that
tried
to
it
you.
today too.
I tried the chicken sandwich.
I didn't have that one.
They just like came out with like a food menu, like a more like
yeah.
camping
Well, they do
Yeah.
seasonal stuff.
So
just
they're out
like-
of the holiday season now.
Yeah, so now they're just coming out with new stuff, and their seasonal menu actually looks dope. But this chicken sandwich I thought was a little ridiculous. Like a chicken sandwich from Starbucks just seems silly. But it was all right.
from Starbucks seems kind of sus because
It's
like
a little sus.
in
The
that little
chicken,
microwave oven that they're just like, oh, this is the hot thing. Like, okay, cool. Like,
yes, it's just a air fryer back there
Yeah.
whipping them out, and it's a little flimsy of a patty, but yeah, it
so
does it.
we're talking about like appetizing things from like fast food. Like, can we talk
Yes.
about something disgusting quickly?
Yes,
Absolutely,
please.
please.
Out under my skin that still does. Like, I won't eat at Quiznos anymore because I've seen like how they prep their food.
Oh
Have you-
no.
Oh.
Oh no. Go on though.
Please
I've
go.
ruined it.
No, please.
Looks like whatever meat they take, they dip in this fucking water and then put it on the sandwich, and then it goes in the oven. And like that water doesn't get
Oh yeah,
So
they don't
it's
chase the water
chicken,
out.
ham,
Oh, it
cross
doesn't get
contamination,
changed.
all of it.
why are
Chicken,
you
ham,
adding
Why are
turkey,
you
pork.
rinsing the
fucking
meat?
meat juice moisture to my meat before you toast my sandwich? Like, no.
What is
Oh.
that and why?
It's so weird. And then like
Ugh.
Red Lobster. I used to work at a Red
Okay.
Lobster.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not too high on Red Lobster, so
Everything comes in a bag.
right.
Everything is of course my phone's ringing right now. Hold on. Let somebody in the door. Yeah, everything comes in a bag, and like, any of the pasta dishes, like, to actually just like throw the plastic bag in a microwave and fucking zap it
Yeah.
and pour out the pasta into a bowl and be like,
Ugh.
yeah. So
Ooh, that's wild.
you're eating
Ugh.
microplastics every single fucking time you ever have pasta at Red Lobster.
Wait a
right?
minute. What about the biscuits though?
Biscuits they make
Oh.
fresh. That's literally the only thing they make fresh.
That's
Alright,
it.
those are the best things about that place.
I was gonna say, are they even? In my mind, I expected those to be like frozen or something.
Right.
No, they mix it up, fucking
Hell
throw
yeah.
it in the oven, and then bring them out. And like they sat on a tray right next to my
The
expo.
one thing they do for free is
Yeah.
fucking the only fresh thing there.
God.
Yeah,
You
like
can get those in the grocery store now. You don't even have to go in there. You know.
I haven't been in the back of house of Olive Garden, but Olive Garden and Red Lobster are the same company, so I'm guessing all the
Yeah.
pasta at Red
Yeah.
Lobster or
No,
Olive Garden
100%.
same way.
It's the
100%.
uniformity of the breadsticks that makes me know that they're pre-made. Like
Yeah.
they are not made fresh.
It's
No.
it's like the
And
way
now
the
they're
chicken
doing the
nuggets-
stuffed
Yeah.
the stuffed breadsticks. They have them stuffed with Alfredo sauce.
Oh
Ugh.
man.
Oh,
Pause.
You have
my
my
stomach
attention.
hurts.
You have my attention.
Oh, stomach hurts now. Oh,
Not all the way out. I'm. You have my attention.
It's
I'm
one of
not
those
gonna get
things
the
you know
bag
what it is. Still might try it.
mm.
Yeah.
Just want to get
I'm not
that
gonna try it.
breadstick just busting in your mouth. Just
Yeah,
Oh,
pause.
pause on
On your
that.
face
Pause.
and be like, huh?
Delicious.
This is delicious. Another round. Another round of the cream filled for me. Thank you. God.
Disgusting.
Olive Garden
yeah.
porno happening, like seriously.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, we're gonna clean it up for the end of the show here.
Hold on,
Brett-
here we go.
oh,
There you go.
That-
Oh,
I could believe that as a real thing that happened.
yeah, perfect.
just
there,
Michael
bad
shredding.
tour. Bad tour. There you go. Oh yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Oh, here's more. Or just see, Michael Jackson played the guitar, man. Look at that. Another
There it
bad
is.
tour. Another bad tour. Look at that.
Yeah,
Another one on
probably
bad
not.
tour.
Probably not.
Look at that. Neek, shut up.
That was,
taught him a
that was
couple
him
things.
on Beat It instead of Eddie
Is
Van
that a
Halen.
slide?
Yeah.
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 Well, originally
Uh,
it was Tito on the guitar originally.
Shout out.
But, so
Tito can't sell like Van Halen.
No,
no,
no.
no.
Brent, one song to add to our 5 on 5 podcast playlist. Any song you want the world to hear.
Damn. What am I going fucking ape shit for right now? I listen to too much music. Oh yeah, I know which one. Fucking Majid Jordan new album.
Yes.
Song,
Good
song
call.
called Waiting for You with Naomi Sharon on it.
Good call. That song is
That's
so
really
fire.
fucking- She sounds like Sade on it. Like,
Yes.
I
that
love the
song
first
is so
single
fire.
off that album. I haven't listened to the album yet though.
Tears in Your Eyes.
Something like that.
Waiting for You is the joint
Yeah.
on there.
Oh,
Uh,
so
yeah.
fire. Good call on that.
You got that, Trav?
Oh man, I've been had that.
Ben had that. Before we wrap up, we had our buddy Bonks on here a while ago that
Shout
called
out.
Yeet. He said Yeet was going to be on the bubble about 3 years ago. Brent,
He
give us
was
your
not
top
wrong
3
about that one.
on the bubble artists. Who's about to blow?
Wow. I feel like I do a top 3 on my own roster, which is cool.
Oh shit.
Uh, one tablespoon, one TBSP is the artist name. It's this kid from Australia. Like lo-fi house world of like, kind of Ross from Friends, DJ Seinfeld, etc., whatever, but infinitely better production and cooler. He's on the come up. Watch for him.
This guy right here?
That's him.
That's him?
Art
Cool.
design, whole branding, like he's a fucking creative genius.
Oh yeah.
Chesco, CESCO. If you fuck with UK based music at all, like he's like, that's the guy. Francesco. Yep.
No.
He's easily the hottest name in like that circuit right now. I got put on to him because of one of my clients, Hamdi, who like had a really good year in 2023, and I'm like following him around, and like he's playing all these tracks at all these festivals that I'm just like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? And he's like, Chesco. So yeah, I followed the directions, and like I'm working with Chesco. And then the last one, dude, this is tough. Can I have 5?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'm not stopping you.
3, 4. Okay. Let's do Pocket, Pocket. UKG, Fred again type world. He's on my roster now. He's getting, that's the guy. Yep. He's getting a bunch of love from producer, songwriting, etc. world. That's just like we whatever you have going on, like you're incredibly dope and you're cheaper than Fred again. So like let's you know what I mean? He's got a lot of exciting stuff. I'd say Nicky Nair, but like he's kind of like blasted off, so we'll skip him. Zep, ZEP. Is not so much a recorded thing with him. Like his music's cool, but like it's the live performance. That's the guy. You should pull up his Instagram or post it somewhere or whatever. Like I'm sure you guys have seen Mark Rebier, right? As far as like the improv of like, creating things on the fly, whatever. It's like that kind of vibe, but just like not the comedy. It's yes. He's got a bunch of reels and shit on there where he's creating things out of like a zipper and fucking a rubber, whatever. And it's like, it's more.
Oh, like, yeah. So he's sampling like skateboard sounds and stuff.
Yeah. Basketball.
Okay. Yeah.
And shit, and like turns it into like this fucking like super heavy hip hop or bass or rock beat, whatever it is. Like he's just, he's a fucking, like, I feel like you were talking about it before as far as like, how do we appeal to like younger crowds? Like taking that short form video world, right? And presenting it in a way that's like, okay, we're going to keep your attention for at least 30 minutes.
Hey,
right?
Neek, you see he's at a jam?
He sure is at a jam.
He's playing drums at a jam.
Dude, he's the shit.
That's tight.
That looks like
That's
a cool
sick.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about that one. I got one more, right?
Yeah.
My guy Notion, Notion. He's
yeah.
He had a viral tune like 2022 that got him a bunch of followers and stuff, but like
no, that song Hooked. Yeah, I know this dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a fairly new client. He's coming over. First tour starts in like 2 months.
Nice.
So, killer.
Yeah. Techno, bass, etc. world. Super multi-functional and a boss.
I love it. It.
Yeah, all I'm working on too, which is cool. Like
that's so sick.
There you go.
It's a dope little roster, man. You could put it on your own festival.
Yeah.
You want to give me some money?
No, I'm not the person.
I'm not the
guy. I need money.
Yeah, money.
But I'll buy a ticket.
Yes,
I'll buy a ticket. Yeah. Brent, before we wrap it up, anything you want to add for upcoming DJs, producers? One little morsel on your way out, a gift, a gem from Brent Tactic.
Dude, like, I'm gonna put this one on there because like I'm obsessed with this EP right now. And it's really small. So if like I say it out loud, it's like it's not gonna make somebody fucking snake it before I can get to it, right? This dude Opus, OPUS, changes. What's the fucking hold on? It's on Spotify, right? Been listening to it a lot. Opus changes. Right. Here we go. Found it. It is Basic Shapes. This label, White Peach, UK label that's been around for a minute. They're on fucking fire right now. You know, as far as like UK based world.
Yeah.
I'm like pretty much I follow them on Bandcamp. So when anything new gets released, I'm like on it like right away. It's like 8 tracks, 34 minutes long. This Basic Shapes Opus guy. Like I'm just like, whoa, like there's like neoclassical stuff on it. There's like, 135 BPM broken stuff. There's heady 140, kind of dubsteppy influence stuff. Like he's doing something that I'm just like, what the fuck? And he's got
6,000 monthly listeners.
6,000 followers,
6,900.
7,000
Yeah. Super small, but like I'm very intrigued with that project.
Hell yeah. Well, anything you got coming up? Anything you want to promote right now for 2024? You're our first guest on here. Go ahead, take the floor.
Fuck. Like, I mean, I feel like the onslaught of my roster is coming. Like, pay attention to festival lineups because there's a bunch of stuff that's getting ready to get announced like ASAP. The Nikki Hudson Mohawk tour is announcing soon. Like that's something that I got to put together, because like Nikki and Hudmo were like, we want to play shows together. And like Hudmo's agent, I shouldn't say that. Hudmo's agent wasn't super interested in spending time on it. So I did, right? So that's coming, new Machine Drum album is coming on Ninja Tune in May, which is going to be next level. Mick Jenkins, Tinashe, fucking
hell yeah.
Bunch of shit on it. I don't know, man. Like I feel like the question was about me and not my roster, but like I feel like my identity runs through my roster.
That's fine, man.
This Handy and Skrillex tune comes out in the next month, like it's supposed to. Like that's gonna be really cool. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The future's looking very bright for you, sir.
I hope so. I mean, I'm trying to buy into that and stay optimistic and not deal with January seasonal depression in New York and not want to get out of bed.
There you go.
Feel that. Well, we appreciate you taking the time, man.
No,
Thank you
sure.
for joining us.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
We had such a good time. I only hope that everyone can listen back through this and kind of find some gems sprinkled through on sobriety and
it ain't hard to find
on the music biz too.
It ain't hard to find.
It ain't hard to find. So, all right, gentlemen, that should do it for us. We will be back next week with a very special guest. It's a Dirty Bird guest. I'm not going to reveal any names yet, but we're super stoked on that one. But until then, everyone, take care.
Peace.